Imagine this. You land in the US. You're thinking burgers, family hugs, business meetings, whatever. You're finally here. And then someone in a uniform says, with the emotional warmth of a refrigerator, unlock your phone. Not please, not when you have a moment, just unlock your phone. And right there, your phone stops being a phone. It becomes your diary, your wallet, your photo album, your work inbox, your group chats, your late night searches, your entire life in one rectangular panic button. If you're thinking, I've got nothing to hide, good. Because the people who say that are often the ones who get wrecked the fastest. Today, I'm going to show you how to protect your digital privacy when you fly, especially when you're dealing with U.S. airports and the U.S. border. This is not paranoia. This is preparation. Because one misunderstanding, one bad joke, one spicy meme, one poorly worded text, one harmless photo that looks weird out of context can turn your trip into a long, fluorescent-lit nightmare. And here's the kicker. Most people don't even know who can do what to your phone. So let's make this simple, practical, and slightly terrifying, in a fun way. First, TSA and CBP are not the same thing. TSA is airport security. Their job is mostly about safety, like weapons, explosives, prohibited items. They're the people who make you take off your shoes like it's a national tradition. CBP, Customs and Border Protection, is the border, entry, immigration, customs. The moment you step into the Welcome to the United States zone, the rules feel different. And if you remember only one sentence from this video, remember this. CBP has way more power than TSA when it comes to searching devices. At the border, the government has broader authority to search your belongings, including electronic devices, than in many other places. That doesn't mean anything goes, but it does mean your assumptions about privacy can get you in trouble. So if you're coming into the US from an international flight or going through a pre-clearance location, you need to be ready. Now, I want to talk about the part that makes people uncomfortable. Real people have been stopped, delayed, searched, and sometimes denied entry because of what was on their phones. Not because they were criminals, because the phone is messy. Human life is messy. Context is messy. And border questioning is not a courtroom drama where you get perfect fairness and a clever closing argument. There have been public reports of travelers facing consequences after authorities reviewed content on devices, including messages. Even when the traveler insists they did nothing wrong, the content can be interpreted in ways you don't expect. And this is where the danger really starts. Your phone doesn't just contain facts. It contains jokes, sarcasm, half-finished thoughts, private conversations, screenshots you forgot you saved, messages from other people that you didn't write. Your phone is basically a museum of things that make sense only if you know the story. A border officer does not know the story. And if you think, well, I'll just delete stuff before I land, congratulations, you just walked into the second trap. Last-minute deleting is the digital version of sprinting through the airport while yelling, "I am definitely not suspicious." Deleting in a panic can backfire in two ways. One, deleted doesn't always mean gone. A lot of stuff can still exist in caches, backups, recently deleted folders, cloud sync, app data, message archives. Your phone is basically a hoarder with a pretty interface. Two, the act of deleting a bunch of data right before inspection can look like you're trying to hide something, even if you're not. And that's why "I have nothing to hide" is such a dangerous mindset. Because privacy isn't about hiding crimes. Privacy is about boundaries. You're allowed to have private photos, private medical info, private finances, private work documents, private messages with your partner, private jokes with friends that would sound insane to anyone else. And at the border, you might be asked to expose all of that instantly. So what do? You prepare like a professional. Here's the strategy. Reduce what's on your device before you travel, protect access properly, and know how to act if you're questioned. Let's break it into a simple travel plan: before, during, and after. Before your trip, ideally 48 to 72 hours ahead, you do the adult stuff. Step 1, back up your data. If your phone is lost, stolen, damaged, or temporarily taken for inspection, you don't want your whole life to vanish. Back up photos, contacts, important documents, and anything you can't afford to lose. And don't just back up, verify. Make sure you can actually log into the account and restore if needed. The number of people who back up and then forget their password is heartbreaking. Step 2, minimize data on the device you travel with. This is the part most people skip because it feels extreme. But if you travel often, this is the difference between a smooth trip and a horror story. You have two main options. Option A, the clean phone method. Back up everything, then factory reset the phone, then reinstall only what you need for travel. Maps, airline apps, hotel apps, messaging, maybe email if you truly need it. You're basically turning your phone into a travel tool, not a portable confession booth. Option B, the travel phone method. This is what a lot of business travelers and privacy-conscious people do. You keep a separate device for travel. Something cheaper, something minimal, something that doesn't contain your entire digital universe. And yes, this sounds dramatic until you realize people buy a second phone to take better selfies. So maybe buying one to protect your life is not that wild. Step 3, separate accounts and access. If you have sensitive work info, consider not having full work email access on your travel device. If you're carrying client info, confidential documents, proprietary data, think hard about whether it needs to be on your phone at the border. Minimize, minimize, minimize. Step 4, lock your device correctly. Use a strong passcode. Not 123456, not your birthday, not password with extra steps. A long passcode is better than a short one. And it's generally better than relying only on face unlock or fingerprint unlock. Biometrics are convenient, but convenience is not the same as security. Now, I'm not telling you to live like you're in a spy movie. I'm telling you to understand that your phone lock is your front door. If your lock is weak, don't be surprised when things get weird. Step 5, clean up the obvious landmines. This isn't about deleting your life. This is about removing stuff that could be easily misunderstood. Examples? Jokes about drugs, jokes about violence, anything that sounds like a threat, anything that could be interpreted as intent. Yes, even memes. Yes, even sarcasm. Yes, even something you think is clearly a joke. At the border, context doesn't always travel well. Now let's talk about the during part, what happens in the airport and at the border. Rule 1, stay calm. I know, that's annoying advice, but it matters. Getting angry doesn't give you more rights, it gives you more attention. And at the border, attention is the currency you do not want. Rule 2, be polite and precise. If you're being asked questions, answer what's asked. Don't volunteer extra lore. Don't tell stories. Don't overshare. One clean sentence beats 3 paragraphs of nervous rambling. Rule 3, understand the difference between TSA screening and CBP border inspection. At TSA, the focus is safety screening. They may ask you to power on a device to show it's real. They may run swabs. But TSA generally isn't there to scroll through your private life. At CBP, the situation can be different. CBP may request access to your device. There are different levels of search, from a basic manual review to more advanced examination in some cases.
And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you refuse to unlock, the consequences can vary. You might be delayed for a long time, your device could be held for further inspection, and if you're not a U.S. citizen, refusal can potentially impact your ability to enter, because entry for non-citizens is often treated as a privilege, not an absolute right. That doesn't mean you should surrender your dignity, it means you should be strategic. So what should you say if you're questioned? You can ask calm, simple questions like, am I being detained? Am I free to go? What exactly are you requesting? Those are not magic spells. They won't freeze time and make everyone clap, but they help you understand the situation without escalating it. If you have sensitive professional data, like you're a lawyer with client materials, a journalist with sources, a doctor with patient information, state that clearly and calmly. Ask what the procedure is for handling privileged or confidential data. And then, no matter what, do not argue like you're on social media. This is not the place to deliver your hottest monologue. This is the place to get through the process and keep your trip alive. Now, let's talk about the part that's getting more intense every year, technology. Because it's not just humans reviewing phones anymore. More and more, agencies and vendors develop tools that can process large volumes of data quickly. Messages, photos, metadata, contacts, social activity, and patterns. That means even a quick look can become a more serious review faster than you expect. The point isn't to panic. The point is to respect reality. Your phone is data, and data is power, so you plan accordingly. Now here's your step-by-step phone protection plan in one clean sequence. Before you travel, back up your phone and verify you can restore it. Reduce what's on the device. Use the clean phone method or a travel phone. Log out of accounts you don't need. Remove content that could be misunderstood out of context, especially jokes that sound illegal or threatening. Turn off auto-download for sensitive apps and limit what syncs locally. Set a strong passcode. During travel, keep your phone locked. Don't scroll through sensitive stuff in line. Don't unlock and leave it open like a book on a table. Be calm. Be polite. Answer questions cleanly. If asked about your device, ask what is being requested and whether you're free to go. Avoid escalating. Avoid sarcasm. Avoid jokes. After travel, if you used a clean phone, restore your data when you're settled. Review your account security if anything felt off. Change important passwords if you're concerned. Re-enable your preferred security settings. And here's the big takeaway. You don't need to be guilty to be inconvenienced. You don't need to be suspicious to be misunderstood. And you definitely don't need to be a criminal to have your privacy matter. Your phone is the most personal object you own, more personal than your wallet, more personal than your suitcase, honestly more personal than your bedroom. So treat it that way, especially when you travel, because the border is not where you want to learn this lesson for the first time. If you want a simple rule to remember, it's this: less data, strong lock, calm behavior. Less data so there's less to misunderstand, strong lock so access is controlled, calm behavior so you don't turn a normal interaction into an unnecessary problem. And if you've ever said, "I have nothing to hide," try saying this instead: "I have a lot to protect," because you do. And if this video made you slightly nervous, good, that means you're awake. Now do me a favor, before your next trip, run the plan, even if you think you'll never be stopped, especially if you think you'll never be stopped. And if you want, I can make part 2, a tighter checklist, the exact phrases to use under pressure, and a travel phone setup that takes under an hour. Until then, keep your passport ready, your phone locked, and your memes less legally adventurous.